If I told you I was going to give you a peek of the most powerful Volkswagen ever unleashed for the road, you're probably envisaging some sleek sports car or maybe an even hotter version of the iconic Golf, not an SUV. Welcome to the world of electrification. Yep, the Volkswagen Touareg R is not your average Volkswagen, and it's not your average SUV either. Priced from $129,990 plus on-road costs, it's the most you can currently spend on a Volkswagen, and it's Volkswagen's first plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or PHEV. But there is pedigree in its DNA. Like any other Touareg, it rides on a platform shared with the Porsche Cayenne and Lamborghini Urus. It also in some ways competes with the Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid, but also takes in a vast range of electric SUVs, including the BMW iX, Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV, and Audi Q8 e-tron. But it's what's beneath the skin of the Touareg R that makes it a little bit special. Now, previously when you wanted a big powered Touareg, you got a big engine, either a V8 or if you cast your mind way back to the mighty V10 turbo diesel. This one, it's a 3-litre V6 turbocharged petrol engine, but it's also got an electric motor. Now that motor makes 100 kilowatts and 400 newton meters. Combined, the two of them can produce 340 kilowatts and 700 newton meters. Those figures are nothing to be sneezed at. They launched the big 5-seater to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.1 seconds. Of course, that's when the engine and the motor are working in unison. If you drive it in electric mode, there's a claimed 51 kilometers of range. But then you've got a lot less power, just 100 kilowatts and 400 newton meters, so acceleration will clearly be a lot more leisurely. The official fuel figure for the Touareg R is 3.3 litres per 100 kilometres, but I wouldn't take a whole lot of notice of that. That's because it's a government-derived figure. It's not representative of what you'll get in the real world. And obviously, if you're running in EV mode, electric only, you're going to use no fuel at all. But if you've depleted that battery pack and you're running in hybrid mode, you'll probably use a whole lot more than 3.3 litres 100. As for electricity use, claimed consumption is 24.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, which is relatively thirsty given the modest EV performance. When it comes time to charge, the Touareg R has a Type 2 plug, so it can't be plugged in at public DC fast chargers. Instead, you've got to find an AC charger, something like a Wallbox for example, and the 14.3 kilowatt hour battery takes 2.5 hours to top up. All this tech means more hardware and more weight. The Touareg R is a heavy beast because of that electric drivetrain. It weighs more than 2.5 tonnes, which is a few hundred kilos heavier than other Touaregs. Speaking of weight, the Touareg has always been a solid tow vehicle with a 3.5 tonne tow capacity, and the Touareg R is no different, so you can still drag around the world's biggest caravan. But the boot space has gone backwards. You've got extra hybrid gear under the floor, for example, so that boot floor has been raised. So instead of 810 litres of capacity, you're down to 665 litres. Still good, but about 18% less. Elsewhere, the Touareg R delivers on luxury. It's a large SUV, so there's no shortage of space. Back here, for example, loads of knee room, loads of headroom. What it doesn't have though is 7 seats. It's strictly a 5-seater, so you miss out on that third row. Still, the finishes, the materials, really nice supple leather. You get some cool little blue highlights that signify it's an R model, and no shortage of ways to keep devices topped up. Throughout the cabin, there are 5 USB-C ports, including a couple back here. No shortage of luxury then, and that flows through to the equipment list as well. Plus there is heaps of tech, starting with a 12-inch digital instrument cluster and a 15-inch central touchscreen. So this infotainment screen, it now uses more of the screen. Previously you had all that real estate, but not necessarily utilising the whole lot, particularly when you were using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now both of those are now wireless, so you don't have to plug anything in, they just appear on the screen. Plus you've got a heap of functionality within that screen. So some main menus, for example, to get you around, whether you want to muck around with the car, the infotainment, phones, and so on. It's all packed in there. First deliveries of the Touareg R kick off around about April 2024, and that's when we'll be getting behind the wheel. So stay tuned to Car Sales for our full review. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course give us all your thoughts in the comments below.